Hi everyone, and welcome to this special live event with Dr. Pillai and guests. Today's show is the first event in our Collective Wisdom series, where Dr. Pillai will be joined by notable leaders who are teachers, doctors, business people, and researchers representing various wisdom traditions around the world. Our series today is Jewish and Yogic Power Sounds, a collaborative global online forum where Dr. Pillai will be talking about the exemplary nature of the Jewish people and their shared origin in the sacred sound tradition. And next we'll be exploring the Christian wisdom tradition. Now, our ultimate goal is to enliven the collective consciousness of the world so that we can work hand in hand in order to awaken the superintelligence of all and create a new world that Dr. Pillai refers to as heaven on earth. So now, back to the exemplary nature of the Jewish people. As we know, they excel in all realms: Hollywood, business, science, and politics. Just to share with you a few facts and statistics, even though the Jewish people comprise 2 to 3% of the American population, they comprise 50% of the top 200 intellectuals, 40% of Nobel laureates in science and economics, and almost 60% of the writers, producers, and directors in the top 50 Hollywood movies. So Dr. Pillai explains this extraordinary achievement with an innovative concept that he refers to as the wisdom gene. And the foundation of the wisdom gene is the knowledge and use of sacred sounds that were revealed in ancient times. So for this show today, Dr. Pillai will be joined by Shlomo Shoham, a retired judge who served as the first commissioner of Future Generations and authored the book Future Intelligence, a project in conjunction with the Israeli Parliament. We also have Eliana Gilad, an international speaker and vocal coach who has helped many to express their authentic voice and power through what she calls as wordless singing. And we also have Doron Lipstein, an entrepreneur who has brought universal meditation to over 1 million people in a very unique global online format. So to begin our first show, I'll invite Dr. Pillai, international speaker and global thought leader, to share with us an introductory glimpse into his overarching vision of how we can create a new world of peace, love, and prosperity for all through awakening the superintelligence of humanity, which is our birthright. Dr. Pillai, thank you so much for joining the show today, and can you share your inspiring vision with us?
Welcome to everyone on the show. First, I just want to emphasize what the show is about. And I'm going to continue to do this forever in my life, as I have mentioned in the last show. So the show is about wisdom. But although I know very well that there is a possibility for racial prejudice, but let me make that very clear to you. This has nothing to do with racialism. Although I talk about two communities predominantly, the Jewish community on the one hand and the yogic communities as represented by the Brahmins in India. The question that I have asked is, why are they excelling in every area of life? What's the reason behind it? It's certainly about genes, but I'm not a geneticist. although I'm going to explain that to you in a scientific way of how the genes are different. And why are they different? And what can we do? Let me briefly tell you how all this got started in my life. And those of my students who have been watching this will know that for the past 8 to 10 months, I have been increasingly involved in trying to find a solution for the global problem of the 99% of the people. 99% of the people are poor. And this started with the famous movement called Occupy the Wall Street. They started out with the question, why are the 99% of the people are not able to control the Wall Street, and why only 1% of the people are able to control the Wall Street? And I addressed this issue in many, many video clips that I have done in the past. And I gave the solution. The solution is to make the 99% of the people the 1% people, meaning that the 99% people should come up in life and then become exemplary and must become intelligent. So it's a matter of raising your consciousness, raising your mental potential. Instead of bringing down the 1%, why don't we just go up and occupy the Wall Street by making the 99% of the people intelligent? That's why I started developing programs called the Millionaire Yoga, how everybody can become a millionaire. It's only a mindset. It's nothing just but a mindset. You have to change your mind from a poverty mind to a millionaire mind. And that led to another program called the Midbrain Miracle Method. Again, that is also geared to how to make the 99% people to create miracles in their lives. And the midbrain can do the miracles. You don't have to wait for time. You can do it now, provided if you can really live in the now. So the program is all about wisdom. It's not about religion or ethnicity or any racial group. It's all about how you can change your intelligence. How can you change your intelligence? By changing the sounds. It's as simple as that. When you change the sounds will go and create that intelligence. But not all the sounds. There are power sounds. That's why the program is called Jewish and Yogic Power Sounds. So we have to understand what the power sounds are. And the sounds will go and transform the genes. And we have enough research now showing that even a frog can become salamanders, provided if we can take the sounds that create the salamanders and impose it onto the frogs, frog embryos. So that is what we are going to do. We are going to identify those sounds, and those sounds will transform the genes, and once the genes are transformed, then you become intelligent. Then you develop super intelligence. So that is the methodology. I'll talk about it more down the road. Let me now mention something that will kind of be entertaining but also be very enlightening. And what is this? There's a movie in India that came in the 2004. It's a full 2-hour movie, Abracadabra. Abracadabra. It's a 2-hour movie. And those are the people who are familiar with the Harry Potter will know. And also those who have been born and grew up in the West will know. This is the sound that the magicians use when they come and show a magic show. So for instance, they will say abracadabra, and then from out of the cap they will pull out a rabbit. And somehow it traveled to India too. In India, at least in northern India, they understand what it is, in the sense that, it's magic. Abracadabra means just a magical word, and beyond that they don't know anything about it. The magicians use it all the time, and children, when they play, they say abracadabra, and then they will create something magical. But it is a power sound. And where did it come from? From Hebrew. Not many people know, because the Jewish were creating in the beginning the prophets. The first patriarch, for instance, Abraham, when he wanted to create, he did abracadabra. What does that mean? I create as I speak. That's the meaning of this word. The word can go and create. I will come to that point momentarily. So then they knew the tradition. They knew the methodology of how you can create matter out of sound waves, so that you don't have to go and sweat, because that is a deterioration that we went through due to the fall. Due to the fall, that we lost the power of creating instantaneously, and we have the ability built in within ourselves. That's the program that I did called Midbrain Miracle Method. And in the Midbrain Miracle Method, you can go into the midbrain and then transcend time and space and use these sounds. So abracadabra is a Jewish power sound. Not many people know, and I did not know myself until I read a book. It's a very, very important book that I want all of you to read. This is a book I picked up when I was in Jerusalem, Sefer Yetzirah. The book is called Sefer Yetzirah. It is the book of creation. It's called by Arya Kaplan, is the author who translated it. He's a rabbi himself. And it's a very, very profound book. You cannot understand it, in the first reading. You have to read it over and over and over again in order to understand it. It is from this book I found out this abracadabra was a sound with which they were able to create. And what is there in the sound? We will see it momentarily. And we will go to another tradition. The Roman kings used this abracadabra too. And the physicians whom they employed used this. There is an amulet they created with a inverted triangle with the abracadabra. And it can create magic. If you want instant creation, you can use this inverted triangle with the abracadabra written in a certain way. You know, if you look at it, you can see the genius in it. All the letters are arranged in a magical way. You can read it any way or in many different ways and get abracadabra. They used to create an amulet out of it and then wear it. This is in Rome. The Roman kings were using it. Who gave it to them? The physicians, to cure them of illnesses, and it was also used for other purposes. For magic, for instantaneous manifestation, this sound can do that. So this knowledge was available. This is somewhere around the 3rd century. Now, when I was reading this book, Sefer Yetzirah, which is the book of creation, the book says that initially Abraham, the first patriarch, created everything just by speaking. Just by speaking. Just say that and then it will be created. For instance, you say $1 billion, then the $1 billion will appear. And now it's very strange. In the Indian movie, somehow picked up all these elements. Now, in the Abracadabra movie, which is a 2-hour movie, there is a yogi who comes on. And this yogi says abracadabra. And he goes into a meditative state, and then he shows his hand, and then objects come out of his hand. Then he waves his hand, and then a mansion shows up. Everything is created by just by using the word abracadabra. That's how powerful is the sound. The whole movie is a 2-hour movie is about magic. But they did not understand the real meaning, the real significance of these sounds. It just became a meaningless word, although there is a meaning in Hebrew. Abracadabra, I create as I speak. That's the meaning, abracadabra. Now let me reflect on the Jewish origin or the Hebrew origin of this song. By about the 3rd century, there were 2 Jewish mystics. One is Rava, and there is another mystic who joined him. He is called Rav Zera. And they too were involved in creating everything through sounds. So they meditated together. What did they meditate on? They took this book, Sefer Yetzirah. The book has been available for them because this is the book which everyone must read. I will compare this book with the Indian texts, the yogic texts, that also say the same thing of how you can create with words. You don't have to go and do. You can get away, you can bypass doing. Action, you can bypass action. You can just say and manifest things. That's what the mantra is. You may have seen this movie Cinderella. In Cinderella movie, what she does is the fairy comes and then she says bibbidi boo, bibbidi doo, or she says something and then waves the wand. What happens? The pumpkin becomes the chariot. Okay, it's the bibbidi bibbidi boo. That's the. And where did this Cinderella story come from? From India. So it again reinforces that you can really say something and create. Now let me go a little further and explain this in an intellectual way, although it cannot be done totally in an intellectual way, because later on I will tell you how you have to get beyond the mind in order to manifest. That's what Sadashiva also says. It's not just about the mind. It's about something that transcends the mind, and you have to get to that place and use these sounds. Only then you can manifest. You can turn the sounds into objects only if you just get beyond the mind. Now, these two mystics, Reva, forgive me if I don't say the Jewish name correct, because I'm just getting into knowing Hebrew. I'm still in the learning process. So one is Reva, another is Rav, Zera. And these people got together and meditated on Sefer Yetzirah. Because Sefer Yetzirah says that if you want to sacrifice an animal, you can create the animal and then sacrifice it. And the animal so created is called android, not the phone. Android or golem. These are, they are different from God's creation, but they could still create with this. And then they were both able to create a goat out of the sound and then sacrifice it to God. And by doing that, they lost their power, because then they went on meditation to pick up the more power. Now, how can this sound can create this animal? That is the secret. Now let's go and see the original version of the abracadabra as it is in Hebrew, as it is given in this book, introduction. It is Rabba Bara Gabra. Okay, I want you to look at the use of the sounds. Rabba is Rava, Ba and Va are interchangeable, and Bara and Gabra. They are using these sounds over and over and over again. And then look at the first word, Rabba, and it is reversed in the second word, Bara. The sound is reversed. And then the third word is again a gimal, which is the G sound is added to Bara. Okay, herein lies the secret of creation. If you can understand these sounds, it can create bones and flesh. And what you have to do is you have to know the secret. And if you know the secret, then by thinking you can create. Because thinking itself is creation. How do you create? First you have to think. If you don't think, there is no creation. So creation takes place at the thought level first. then it becomes a three-dimensional one. First, it is unidimensional at the thought level. Then, at a three-dimensional level, it becomes matter. Thought becomes matter. That is the secret. Now, you can purify yourself to come to a level. Then you won't see the difference between matter and energy. You will know how to convert energy into matter and matter into energy. That's what Einstein was doing on a physical level. But he did not himself even able to create just by thinking. He was working with only the physical matter, however small it is. But then it goes one step further. And there it uses only the mind energy or the soul energy. We can get to that level and understand how these sounds play out. Why are they using these sounds, and change the order of the sounds, and what do these sounds mean? And you will have to reflect on it forever and ever and ever. And for instance, want you to look at a movie on Zohar, which is the Kabbalist text, where Shimon Bar Yochai, who is the founder of the Kabbalah tradition. He was persecuted by the Romans, and he was feeling so bad, and then he just went into a retreat. And in the retreat, he was just pouring his heart, mind, and soul into the Torah. And the Torah revealed itself to him. That's why the true meaning of Jewish mysticism is found in the Kabbalist tradition. It is not just the words. It is just the words becoming alive. And in order to make it alive, they have created a lot of practices. For instance, there are practices in the Jewish tradition, where they will move like this while they are reading. If you can move like this, you can activate the midbrain. You can activate the third eye. That is the reason why they move. And then there is a reason why this is where the superintelligence is. And this energy is going out all the time. So we have to block this energy from escaping from this top of the brain, because the top of the brain is even more powerful than the pineal gland, which is the third eye. So you have to somehow protect the energy from getting out of the system. That's why you have to put the Jewish people put this cap over this place so that this energy doesn't get out of the system. And then you go on moving this and go on reflecting on it. And when you begin to reflect on this over and over and over again, then you will understand the sound, what is Ba, what is Ra. All these things will be revealed to you. It will be a personal revelation. And during that revelation, you will understand the process. It is not going to just come by saying that the magician coming say abracadabra and then pull a monkey out of the hat or a rabbit out of the hat, But somehow it captures the meaning. That's why I showed you all these things. And it has become part of the tradition in India. In India, they say it every day, in northern India particularly, kids say abracadabra. But these things, when they are understood in the proper context, then you can see the power of this. How you can create with these sounds whatever you want to create. Now, this is where I want the civilization, the human civilization, should move towards. Otherwise, we cannot find money for everybody through our economic system. It is only through empowering our mind, empowering our intelligence.
Thank you, Dr. Pillai. Did you have any more remarks? If not, we will go on to invite our guest to the show. Shlomo, are you there? Okay, I've just been told that we've had a technical problem in getting our guests onto the show, so we will invite them to future shows. So, Dr. Pillai, do you have any other summary teachings that you would like to share on the show today?
All right, I heard that the other guests from Israel are not able to join. Maybe they will be able to join in the future shows. So let me go and explain to you how sound becomes matter from the yogic tradition. The yogis do not want to manifest through action. They want to bypass action. And in this, both the Jewish tradition and the yogic tradition agree, the earliest tradition. But somehow the Jewish tradition discontinued it or forgot the tradition until the Kabbalah somewhat revived it. But then it's still being figured out by modern Kabbalists. But if you go to India, there are people who will perform these siddhis, these miracles. A number of them, they would be able to materialize things out of the thin air. Just think and manifest. Because the tradition is very much alive here in India. Although it was at one point alive during the biblical times, and you can bring down the walls of Jericho just by power sounds. Sounds could do anything. It's the same thing with the Indian tradition. They can send a missile just driven by sound waves. And this missile will go and destroy and come back to the person. They had known the sound technology intact and also the relationship between sound and matter. And I have been able to simplify the system. What I have done is to simplify the system. And in that system, I have come up with an equation. That equation is S equals I. Sound equals intelligence. There is no intelligence without sounds. Then we have to go deep and understand what the sound is. And what are those special sounds called power sounds? And how to use them. Okay. Now I have to go a little bit more now to explain to you another concept. I have done extensive research, and also I have a course a long time ago, about 3 or 4 years ago. I had 3-4 years ago, I taught a course called The Divine Mind. The divine mind can create by just thinking. This is what the yogis and the Jewish people have been able to inherit from their ancestors. Why are these Jewish people so exemplary? Just as Mohini just said, they have so many Nobel laureates, scientists, Hollywood writers, and why, they are so exemplary? Because they have inherited the genes, and the genes are still vibrating with those power sounds. So what does that mean? So they think, and then they are able to manifest. Although the training is not there, because there are so many secular Jews out there who are excelling. But then the genes carry those sounds, carries those the technology to create just by thinking, without creating problems, bypassing action, or compressing time, or compressing the duration taken for manifestation. It's all there in the genes. So my thinking is that we will identify, I have identified it and developing programs, and I call this program as phonemic intelligence. This intelligence is located in the phonemes. Abracadabra represent some of the phonemes that can give you the highest intelligence possible. Now, you have to move from your rational mind to the midbrain, to be precise. The midbrain is the divine mind, or the divine brain. There is a difference between the human mind and the divine mind. The human mind will have difficulty in manifesting the sounds into object. The human mind has to become the divine mind. So what is the difference between the two? In the divine mind, the idea and the object are together. The idea is not separate from the object. To think is to also manifest. There is no time in between. Because the divine mind does not differentiate between the idea and the object. For instance, if you think of Rolls-Royce. The Rolls-Royce as a word is different from the Rolls-Royce as the car. It is because of the problem with the human mind that dissects the material reality from the psychological reality. In Sanskrit, it's called Nama and Rupa. The yogis will say Nama means the name, Rupa means the form. The Nama, which is the name, the Rupa, which is the form, they are non-different. They are not different at all for God. That's why in the Bible, when God wants to create, what does He do? Let there be light. And the light came into being. What will the human mind ask? No, how are we going to create electricity? Is it thermoelectricity, or hydroelectricity, or nuclear power, or solar power? So we are going on complicating things. This is not the right way. We have to go back to the biblical time. We have to go back and identify ourselves with Abraham. And Abraham is the father of creation. And he created everything just by using these power sounds. And here in the Eastern tradition, in the yogic tradition, Abraham is called Brahma, Abraham. Bra itself is a sound that helps you to create. So when I teach the course, I will explain to you how the dynamics operates in it and what are the stages that differentiate the human mind and the divine mind, and how it is not able to see the nama and the rupa, which is the object and idea, as together, because the idea and the object collapse. They become one and the same. At a very deep level, when you move into, say, more precisely into the midbrain. The midbrain doesn't differentiate at all. So what is going to differentiate the idea and the object, the name and the form, is the human mind, particularly the cortex, the neocortex. The neocortex, developed at a later point in time. The original mind, the reptilian brain, what we call the primitive brain, is a wrong thing to say it is a primitive brain. It is the psychic brain. It can think and manifest. We have to get to that level. And that brain is the one that produces the power sounds. So the power sounds become active only in the midbrain area. This is the course that I did called the Midbrain Miracle Method. Many people were able to do that. So what we are here doing is take humanity from a negative attitude which says, we cannot manifest. There are so many factors involved in it. And then create a negative reality. Everybody can and must be able to think and manifest, and for which they have to understand what those power sounds are, number one, and how those power sounds can be used, and where in the brain they have to use, at what time these sounds become powerful, and what is the difference between the human mind and the divine mind. I will tell you, there are so many steps that you have to go through, and then through which you can take your mind from the human rationalistic dissected level to a level where it will not differentiate between the idea and the object. And how we fell from the highest level of being able to manifest right by just thinking a thought to the separated level of thought, action, manifestation. When you are in the human mind, this is the last point I would mention, and after that, at another time when I am with other people, I will explain to you the process. One step, I just want to mention it during this program. When we fell, the fall is also a biblical concept, which is also the concept within the yogic tradition. We fell from a higher intelligence to a lower human intelligence. When we live the divine mind, we see everything in terms of yourself. And this is expressed as, I am this. I am this means I am everything. This is the object, and I have become the object. Okay, this is called the Sadashiva stage. Sadashiva is in your evolutionary process. When you move from your divine rationalistic mind to the divine mind, you go through a stage called the Sadashiva stage. And then after that, you go to the divine mind. Even prior to the Sadashiva stage, there is another stage called the Ishvara stage. Aishvara stage. And that stage is this I am. So identification with the this more. This comes first. So this I am this. You can see the difference. When you really see it from the level of descent from all-knowing, all-powerful state to a object-oriented state, the fall starts with I am this. Then I am is pushed. This becomes more important. This I am. This is the representation of this objective world. So the objective world has become such a solid reality for us. And we don't see the connection between our consciousness and this material world. And once we are able to bridge these two and see them as one, then we have accomplished our goal. Then we have become full. And thus can happen through the use of the sounds, abracadabra. And those of you who want to know more about it, there's a lot of literature available. And then see how the sound, we see the ba and ra is repeated there in different orders. And you see the same technology used in the chanting of Namah Shivaya. Nang Namah Shivaya, Mang Shivaya, Shing Shivaya, Namah Vang Vaya, Namah Siyang, Namah Shiva. These are arranging the sounds in different orders. And then I also showed you the abracadabra used by the Roman emperors. And it's really a sad thing that this abracadabra, which is a magical sound, the white magic, of course, from Hebrew, has moved to the Roman context, and then the Indian concept, and then recently to the Harry Potter thing, and then has been used in a very secular setting. But these sounds, when they are understood properly and used at different parts of the brain at different time frames, because time is very important, then you will be able to manifest everything. Why are we doing this? Because we want to empower our brain. We want and the 99% of the people to go and occupy Wall Street. That is the golden age. So my ultimate goal for doing this program is to empower everyone to have this divine mind, a brain that is capable of understanding oneness, the oneness of the object and the idea, and from that oneness, if you function, life becomes blissful. So next time, now we will have our guests to come and share with us more of the Jewish power sounds. We're sorry that we couldn't get you those guests, and I personally look forward to listen to them in the next hangout.
Thank you, Dr. Pillai, and thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. And again, I would like to apologize for the technical issues that we've had on this show. We'll definitely resolve that for the future shows, and we will absolutely invite our guests to join us for a future show. And I just want to invite all of you to join us for our shows on August 4th and 11th. The show on August 4th will highlight the scientific perspective on how sound creates intelligence and how sounds can alter our DNA. And our show on August 11th, Dr. Pillai will be joined by spiritual leaders of the Jewish faith to share their grand vision of how we can create a new world with people vibrating with divine light, love, compassion, and superintelligence. So everyone, we look forward to seeing you next time as the conversation continues.